Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I love that little guitar riff introducing the games. Here we go, game number 2 of NaDa versus GoRush. Very, very excited about this game. We have an absolutely amazing game number 1. NaDa just showing off his ability to, you know, make a mountain out of a molehill of units, and which is really the wrong use of that colloquialism, but regardless, able to use a very small amount of units to do a lot of damage, right? And just having some really cool situations where he's like, I'm just gonna run by. I'm gonna run by your defenses. I'm gonna ignore them. I'm gonna wreak havoc in your main, and it was really effective, but managing to not quite win the long run. So here we go, game number 2. GoRush, of course, is going to be the blue Zerg player at this 6 o'clock position. NaDa is going to be the white Terran player at the 12 o'clock position. Kind of an interesting situation. You know, I was talking at the beginning of game number 1 about how NaDa has won a bunch of stuff, right? And GoRush has won a couple of stuff, right? So this is kind of important for both players in a sense, because you know, GoRush is really trying to prove himself as a repeater, as a player who can win, you know, multiple star leagues. And you know, not just a one-hit wonder basically. And you know, he had a, you know, a bronze medal in 2001, you know, as well. But you know, we're looking at GoRush's recent history. First place OSL 2003, second place KT Premier League in 2004, right? So a couple medals is something, but like, you really need to get, you know, if you want to prove yourself as not just a one-hit wonder, you gotta be consistent right here. And so this is an important Star League for GoRush to be able to prove that. He's already gotten here to the semifinals, right? He really is going to need to get to the finals to get another big medal under his belt to really show himself there. Anyways, we got a drone scout coming here for GoRush. Just wants to see what NaDa's up to. He's going to see the single barracks. Not a second barracks not quite building, but he wants to, you know, just scout around. NaDa's the type of person to do something clever, so you want to make sure you're looking around to see if anything crazy. What? Did he actually gas steal? He did a gas steal. He used his drone to steal NaDa's gas. That is really interesting. Now hold that thought, because NaDa is pushing out with several SCVs, and he's going to try and do a bunker rush here. He says, you know what, it worked for Boxer against Yellow, maybe it'll work for me against GoRush. And he's pulled a lot of drones to deal with this. Kills off the SCV building the bunker. He's going after the Marines. This is what you need to do. The Marines are running for dear life, trying to escape the drones, but he's going to get surrounded. Oh, the second Marine is... Oh, he does get surrounded again. The drones do kill the Marines. This is a really nice play here by GoRush. And he's probably, you know, got his Zerglings on the way now as well. So NaDa's actually going to turn around and leave. Now look at that, though. 3 drones mining in the main. So this is definitely still some damage done by NaDa, because even though he didn't kill... I don't think he killed any drones. Maybe 1 drone. He still was able to stop a lot of mining time by forcing him to pull those drones to deal with that threat. And this gas steal is really interesting, because what this is going to do is it's going to make sure that NaDa can't do any kind of a tech build to follow up, for one thing. But also, you know, slowing down the gas slows down stim, slows down medics and fire bats. You can still make the academy with just minerals, obviously, but oh, and actually GoRush has made a number of Zerglings. Now these are kind of defensive Zerglings that he had to make because he knew that NaDa was pushing out there and he didn't want to keep pulling his drones. But anyway, hold that thought. A second barracks has been made, possibly in response. I've been saying hold that thought a lot lately, haven't I? I feel like I say it when I don't need to, since for some reason, I don't know why, I just noticed that. But But hold that thought, because we do have NaDa pushing out here. Now, he did make a second barracks, possibly because of the refinery steel, or the refinery block, I guess. But he's got a lot of Marines as a result. It could have been his plan all along, though, just to follow up with extra Marines. Sunken colony being made kind of at that ramp. Now, this map, Requiem, is really awkward to defend. It's a really interesting, your choke point is hard. You know, the gas is like, look at that, the gas is on the top, right? So you definitely can't hold the second gas very easily, although he doesn't need a second gas right now. But in any case, so he does have, NaDa does have his gas down. He's got his academy almost completed now. So it looks like NaDa is just kind of pushing out with those Marines, saying, you know what, you know that I know that you know that you have to make a sunken colony if I do this. So I'm going to make you make that sunken colony. I'm going to make you make a couple more Zerglings, so you're not getting too many drones. But in the meantime, NaDa's real plan is just to sit back, get a little bit more stuff. Now, I don't think he's going to, it doesn't look like he's expanding off this. He's going to go for this typical attack, though, but he did want to wait for stim. He wanted to wait for medics. So the sunken colonies are now, I mean, the sunken colonies are not a waste by any means. They're a necessity, but if he made them a little bit later, then the amount of time that later that they would have been that more money coming in for GoRush. And he keeps sending out these scouting lunks to kind of see what's going on. And are we going to see NaDa go for a bust here? He's going to stim in. There's only 2 sunkens left, but we might have a similar situation where some sunks morph in the middle of the battle, but there's not as many this time. Forced to pull drones to be more of a threat, to buy a little bit of time for those couple more sunkens to come in. He does kill 1 sunk. Oh, a stim going down. Is he going to run in? Is he going to try and run by again? He's going to try and run by again. The Zerglings are in position to block, but they actually run away at the last moment. The drones are pulled, though, and they do block the run by. Brilliantly done by GoRush. He's not going to fall for the same trick again. Well, although NaDa is still going to pull off the same trick. Maybe NaDa should be the magician as far as this goes, as far as pulling tricks, but NaDa is going to get 1 Marine into the main here. I don't think this 1 Marine by itself is going to be enough to really be too much of a threat. He does get a drone, but the Zerglings are going to kill things off. He's going to scout the timing of the Spire as well, though. NaDa losing a lot. So that was actually brilliantly done by GoRush. NaDa kind of a little bit telegraphed the fact that he wanted to do a stim run by to try and go by the defenses again. But GoRush is like, well, you did that last time. I'm prepped for it now. He had Zerglings in the spot, and at first I was like, oh, he's pulled his Zerglings away from the ramp so the Marines can go get by. But he actually kind of did that on purpose. He wanted to bait the Marines in a little bit, I think. This is my theory. He wanted to bait the Marines in a little bit and then cut them in half, and that's what he did. He baited the Marines in. Some of the Marines and a couple of medics made it down the ramp, and then he was able to close in on them while they were spread out in a line formation with the Zerglings, while he pulled his drones to block the ramp to make sure that the rest couldn't go down and join it. And so I think that was really extremely well executed. NaDa is not letting up the pressure, though, now pushing across the map with another force of Marines, a couple fire bats as well, with a couple medics. And I think he's very smartly going to turn around, though. You know, GoRush has a few Zerglings on the map. Okay, so he's pushed out, and he's actually just going to fall back here. Now he's going to have to play a little bit defensive. I think he knows, again, the Spire timing. The Milos are about to pop. And so he needs to be a little bit defensive here, building some turrets as well. Needs to defend. This is kind of interesting. He's spreading his Marines out around his base to kind of make sure he has a full perimeter so that wherever the Mutalisks are coming from, he can defend against it. More Sunkens going down here for GoRush. Look at this. This is a crazy amount of Sunkens. He's already got, what was that, 5? He's building 2 more right now? It's actually a little bit of overkill, I think. I mean, they're going to be effective defenses because he's taken a 3rd base, but it's on the inside expansion that's behind the minerals of his natural. So unless NaDa gets a dropship, which is not out of the question, I heard some Marines firing in a stim. Didn't see what was going on there exactly. If the Marines I'm not sure what they were doing, actually. Maybe there was a Zerling ran in? I'm not sure. Wow, that's... Whoa! Whoa! That is a super fast Greater Spire. He went straight in. Oh, and NaDa scanned it. I don't know if that scan was actually within range to actually spot the Greater Spire itself. But he spotted the hive. And he didn't see any other tech, so... there's a lot of mutas. Now, here's the thing is, I think, you know, this is a good strategy that we see on this map a lot because of the terrain advantage that Guardians can make use of. Here we're seeing NaDa's first-person view a little bit, by the way, and this is really cool to always watch this and see what NaDa's doing. He's actually building a refinery. Wait, did he build an expansion? Okay, so he's actually building a refinery. He really wants that gas. Such that he's building a refinery before his command center is even finished, so that as soon as that command center lands, he can start mining gas from this new base. But here's the thing is if you park some Guardians, Morph Guardians behind that mineral line, they can rain down upon it, and the Marines just cannot get to the Guardians, basically. Vessels theoretically could, or even Wraiths. I actually wouldn't be surprised to see NaDa build a Wraith in response. That is so many Sunkens! What the heck? That's 10 Sunken colonies! He really doesn't want to get busted. And I mean, this is, you know, I was a little bit surprised by this because, oh, he's actually not going to go for the expansion. He's going to go for morphing those Guardians on the side of the main. The thing is when you're doing fast hive tech, you kind of need to do this. This is very typical when you go fast hive, that we see Zerg players will get a bunch of Sunkens. You know, and the reason why is, go back and watch the game on this map, I believe, if I remember correctly, where July Zerg went for fast Guardians, I think, against Oof in the group stage, if I remember correctly. You just need a ton of Sunkens to kind of block things, and no, this is perfect. Getting the Scourge to block the Science Vessels. The Vessels are going to be able to irradiate a couple of these Guardians, and actually the Marines are going to get close enough to kill one of the Guardians as well. No, that one does escape. So this is a nice position here by GoRush. Just able to shell the main. The front is a little bit exposed as well. Wraiths are out, but the Scourge are there to counter. We're seeing a little bit of back and forth, where, you know, the Scourge don't want to go in range. Oh, he's going to get both of the Wraiths, but the Guardians have come in a little bit too close, and the Marines are getting some fire on them. And another Wraith has popped out. There's no Scourge left, and so this one Wraith is eventually going to be able to kill off all of these Guardians. Very little damage dealt by the Guardians, actually. I'm not so sure about defending Guardians with only Scourge. Now, if those Wraiths weren't here, this would be a much more difficult position for NaDa, but yeah, I haven't seen this Guardian strategy work very well. Obviously, it has the potential to work, or these Zerg players wouldn't do it. But it just, the Guardians are too vulnerable to the air, and it's so hard to. And we just saw there, he had some Scourge there to deal with the, you know, Science Vessels or Wraiths or what have you, but he didn't have enough. And the Scourge are just so vulnerable that the air units can fall back to the Marines. Of course, you know, then if they fall back to the Marines, the Guardians can go after the Marines, but then if the Marines get close enough to the Guardians fall back to the ridge. It's very, very, oh, free Guardian kills. Can actually cancel them out. Save the money at least. What is this? Okay, he's actually using the muta, running around in circles to kind of bait the Wraiths in so he can get some Scourge onto them. But eventually he's going to turn and fly back away. Hydras... Okay, there's a lot of Hydras out now. That's interesting. Are they going to be Lurkers? He has Defilers. Or he has the Defiler Mound, I should say. He's had it for a little while. Consume is not probably quite done yet, or if it is, well, actually, it's probably finishing up pretty soon if it isn't done yet, actually. But this is a nice timing here. Okay, there's the Lurkers being morphed on the side. Oh, he's going to be able to do a pincher here. Oh, but is it too late? NaDa's going in for an attack before the Lurkers have morphed. He might be able to get in here and do the damage beforehand. No, he's going to stop and siege up. He says 10 Sunkens are too many. And he's going to try and go for the siege instead. And while this siege is happening, the Defilers are out. The Swarm goes down. He's going to run in under the Swarm again. Again, we see the same thing happen. Oh, no. Oh, no. GoRush just made the same mistake that the other Zerg player did, whose name I don't remember. Now here's the pincher though. He does come in with the defilers from behind. I'm sorry, the lurkers from behind, but the Hydralisks go in and die. All of the Marines are protected by the Dark Swarm. The lurkers are not morphed yet, and he can't. Oh no! Oh no! GoRush just threw the game away, I think. Well, he's not quite dead yet, but oh no! That was. Oh, if he just waited. If he just waited. That's what the Sunkens were there for, was to buy time. Now, he bought time for the Defiler, but again, GoRush was like, I've got Consume, I've got Defilers, I've got Dark Swarm, I need to cast it, that'll save me. But he casted it right in front. He didn't even cast it on the eggs that were morphing. So he's just like, here, NaDa, have a nice little spot where you can park all of your Marines and they're completely safe from everything. And here comes NaDa for a second attack with this group. The Sunkens were already previously damaged. Okay, this is it. GoRush needs to win with this pincher. He needs to solidly defeat NaDa right here. Coming in with Hydras and Lurkers from behind. And he is going to trap all of those units. There we go. So GoRush is not out of this yet. Even taking out 1 or 2 vessels during that time is really what he needed to kind of get back into this. Well, maybe not back into this. I guess this is more even than I think of, but I do feel like GoRush is the disadvantage. He spent so much money on Guardians, and they did very little. Very, very little. He spent so much money on getting this Hive Tech, the Defilers out, and they have not been able to accomplish too much yet. A lot of Lurkers have been made, and several have died for no reason as well. So, you know, in general, I feel like GoRush has lost more than he's gained with some of these decisions. However, he is on 4 bases, so maybe he can afford it. NaDa is again pushing across the map here with, and they are far positions, by the way, which is just something that's interesting to note. Might be a little bit of an advantage for GoRush here. Oh, he's gonna go in. He says, okay, actually I have enough here. And this is so interesting to see the mass Hydras instead of the Lings to support the Defilers. They are upgraded as well, but this is really cool. He's just like got so much stuff. He's pushing out with these Hydras as well. Now there's no Defilers with this group though, which is interesting. NaDa's being forced back into his base though. Is he gonna kind of get contained here? It looks like he might. Okay, there's the Defiler. Wouldn't it be funny if he could consume that critter? That would be kind of cool if he could consume critters. It would just be interesting. I guess it wouldn't make it much sense, but okay, he's going in here now. This is the Dark Swarm that he needed. He needs the Dark Swarm in a spot where it's actually protecting his units, and he's able to push in a little bit closer. Does he have another swarm in play? They can start pushing in farther in, so we can start pushing and start doing damage to those buildings. The tanks are able to do a little bit of splash damage to those lurkers underneath the swarm. Not full damage though, but it's enough damage that those lurkers will not be able to survive forever underneath there, if I remember correctly. And oh, here we go. He is pushing in. That one Dark Swarm is just yeah, it's about to run out. He's really milked that one Dark Swarm, but wasn't quite able to pull off. And the Defiler, I guess, must have been irradiated. Didn't see what happened to it, but the Defiler was irradiated at that time, and or Defiler was killed, and so he couldn't follow up with the second swarm to get in a little bit closer. But in the meantime, Ultralisks, he's been building Ultras in the meantime as well. Oh my goodness, this is crazy. Now NaDa has managed to push out of his choke point and get out onto the map again, so which gives him more room to maneuver. If the Zerg has you pinned in, they can just push in slowly with Dark Swarms and eventually you know, choke you out. But in this case, NaDa has managed to be able to get out into the middle of the map to have more room to maneuver, and he's going to need it because there's a large Zerg force here. He needs to separate those Ultras so they're not damaging each other, I think. Just kind of running around there with being irradiated. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh, it's a Doom Drop though. NaDa being out in the middle of the map might be his undoing, because this drop probably has Lurkers and Ultralisks inside it, of course, with Cracklings to boot. There's the Ultras dropping out. Oh my god, there's so many Ultralisks in his main base. The main base is doomed. He's I don't know if he can pull anything back. Defilers as well. Hydras to kill the buildings in the air too. And NaDa knows that he has no choice but to go for a base trade situation. He's going across the map. He says, if you've invested that much stuff into my main base, you've got nothing back home to defend. Wraiths are going to be killing off, but he does have the defenses. He's got Ultras and Defilers back home as well. Oh my goodness. And somehow GoRush has managed to get so many units. This is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, even on 4 bases, he's producing so much stuff. Now, the Lurkers and, the Lings and Defilers, Lings and Ultras need some Defilers to back it up. But no, he might just have so much. There's so many units. This is not even including the Ultras in NaDa's main. He's completely overrunning NaDa's position here in the middle of the map. This last-ditch counter push by NaDa. And there's the GG from NaDa. GoRush has defeated NaDa again. 2 games in a row. What? An amazing performance. And what was NaDa doing there, by the way? With his mouse pad or something like that. We're scrolling back to see what he says with that, but look at this force. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 Ultras there. Does he swap out his mouse pad? Or maybe he like wiped it off or something like that? Wow! Just crazy. I mean, that is Zerg, man. That is the power of the Zerg. Just go. Wow. I don't even know what to say. This is absolutely amazing. The Doom Drop. He had like a dozen Ultras and Lurkers and Lings and Hydras in the Doom Drop. And I'm like, there's no way he has. No, he actually had another Doom Force waiting back in his main as well. Just absolute insanity. And I guess that's, that's what a Zerg can do with 4 gases. 4 gases. Absolutely amazing play by GoRush. NaDa. Wow. NaDa, he had such a disappointing quarterfinal in the last season of the OSL, where he went down to UV and he was so confident, and he wanted to get back, get revenge for his MSL finals loss to UV, and he lost in the quarterfinals. And now here he is. Again, he wants to get back into those finals, NaDa, I was talking before about how GoRush kind of needs this series, right? He needs this to kind of, prove himself in a way, right? Because of, he wants to prove that he's not just a one-hit wonder, right? But NaDa also kind of needs this, right? He was the star of 2002 and 3, right? But in 2002. In 2003, he fell off a little bit. In 2004, he hasn't quite been, exactly the same. I mean, he's still been winning stuff and getting silvers and he's still got silver in that MSL. But, he hasn't won a title in a little while, in over a year. And so for NaDa, it's a similar situation where he really, really wants this. And so now he's down 0-2 in the semifinal. But it is a best of 5, so he's not out yet. If this is a best of 3, he'd be eliminated. But it's not. So NaDa can still come back, but he has to win 3 games in a row in order to get into the finals here, and it's not looking good for him at all. Even against lesser players, winning 3 games in a row will be difficult to do. Against GoRush, it's going to be nearly impossible. We've got a steep uphill climb for NaDa here, but can he do it? We'll see in game number 3. Thanks for watching. GG.